Welcome back to a Book a Day podcast. I've still got the same book with me called The Other in the Mirror, which is a collection of short stories based on the theme of India and Pakistan. In each episode, I'm narrating a different story from the book, and the short story that I've got for you today, it's called A Snowful Desire. A Snowful Desire was originally written in Urdu by Saeed Ahmad, and it has been translated into English by Bina Biswas. So, without any delay, let me start narrating the short story called A Snowful Desire by Saeed Ahmad. Mother, I want to go fetch some snow from the mountains, he would urge when I would put him to bed. Yes, son, but look at the blanket of stars in the skies. We will wrap it around ourselves and fall asleep. I would try to draw his attention to the stars and sleep fairies, but he would insist on listening to the stories of the snow-capped mountains. Look there, a fairy in gaudy attire is descending upon you from a magical star-studded Milky Way. Munnu, my darling, the fairy is filling up your eyes with sleep. But he would drowsily ask, when will father take me to the mountains? I would look at him as he would fall asleep, patting him gently and kissing his forehead and eyes. His eyelids would be tightly shut, but I would still see his eyes shining through them. His eyes were the most beautiful feature on his face. I would often shudder at the thought of someone's evil eye harming him. But then I would laugh at my own thoughts. Every child is the most beautiful in the eyes of their mother. Lost in the maze of my thoughts, I would gradually drop off to sleep. Waking up to the morning call to prayer, I would catch the sounds of splashing water drawn from the hand pump by Miyaji for ablution. I would kiss my son's eyes and forehead before getting out of bed. 2 red bricks were placed, one on top of the other, against a cracked wall across the charpoy. Stepping on them, my son would fix his gaze for hours on the 2 snow-capped mountains gleaming at a distance in the sunlight. I would repeatedly call him for breakfast, but he would not bother until he would be dragged down from upstairs. Looking at the snow-covered mountains from his rooftop in the scorching heat for hours had tanned his skin, but he would take no heed of our complaints. His father, Master Siddiq Ahmad, slapped him a few times and locked him up in the room. He took to his grandfather's prayer mat, pleading with God to send his father away from their home. God also promptly answers the prayers of children. The next day, his father was transferred to the city from the village. He was promoted to the position of a high school teacher. Elated at the news, he immediately packed up and off he had gone. Munnu was now as free as a bird. He would spend hours on the rooftop in the blistering sun, looking at the mesmerizing mountains. Hearing the call from the street, he would sprint down to grab and gorge on the ice lollies dipped in green and red sugary syrup. He would get even more ice from the bazaar to chew on and would drink ice-cold water. That's all he would do all day. I could only climb up the steep staircase a few times a day to bring him down. His father was in the city. His grandfather was old. So Munnu remained engaged in his favorite pastime of watching the mountains. I would sometimes wonder about the other kids in the neighborhood. Why did only Munnu have such unusual fascinations? In the morning, he would often touch his eyes with ravine flowers and kiss the pomegranate flowers. The fragrance of the night blooming jasmine would intoxicate him, and I would save him from falling. Watching him, I would often wonder why unusual things would impact him so strongly. I would often ask him, but he would not find words to express. Frown lines would appear on his forehead as he would plunge into deep thoughts, but still be at a loss for words. His father was also worried about him. He would fail to comprehend Munnu's fascination with the snow-capped mountains, for which he would tolerate the scorching heat of the sun, covering his head with a towel soaked in ice-cold water. He would look at those mountains. His father had once mentioned his condition to a doctor friend, and I got terrified when he said, "Munnu is a hypersensitive child. He needs extra attention and care." He had been given tender, affectionate care ever since he was born. Looking at him on the day of his birth, his grandfather had said, "He has illuminated our house." He named him Munawwar, the illuminated one, and prayed, "May God always protect him. His luminous face has lit up our village. There is one moon in the sky, but has got two, his eyes." A strange sense of fear often took hold of me. Afraid of my own thoughts, I would sometimes feel like a startled fawn. I tried my best, but the distressing thoughts kept returning. One day, when I had had enough, I went straight to the post office. Unable to contact Munnu's father after several phone calls, I telegrammed him to come home immediately. His father was surprised to see how Munnu rushed and embraced him tightly. "Father, I have decided we will use the kite string to hook it up to one of the mountains and drag it down to our home. You and I, right?" he asked. Master Siddiq felt the ground slipping under his feet when his wife told him about their son's condition. Munnu's eyes had turned so red that drops of blood could be seen tangled in them. The redness reduced when Miaji recited some verses and blew on his eyes. Master Siddiq brought a friend's motorbike to take him to the mountains. The motorbike rushed through the dirt tracks between the fields, leaving behind thick black spiraling smoke from its silencer. Mundu had snugly wrapped his arms around his father, sitting behind him on the bike. But his father would feel a rush of panic whenever Munnu would free his hands to clap with joy. Munnu could see that the mountains were gleaming in the sun just in front of him. Masterji parked the motorbike. Munnu got off and sprinted towards the mountains. A thick wall of barbed wires blocked his way. "Father, let's move ahead." Masterji's voice choked as he hugged Munnu tightly. Both the father and son sat down by the barbed wire. Munnu's eyes had turned bright red from weeping endlessly. He could see sparrows, pigeons, and crows flying around freely. His heart ached as he wanted to fly like those birds. He rushed once again towards the barbed wire. Master Siddiq pulled him and held him closely against his chest. You were born here. This is your country. I was born across that barbed wire, but that is not my country anymore. You're lying, father. Take me to the mountains. I will make a house out of the snow. That will be my house. Master Siddiq was utterly despondent. Where? Where, my son? When they got back, Munnu immediately headed upstairs to the rooftop. Master Ji entered the room and stood against the wall. It was a dimly lit room where two of us stood gazing down, neither looking nor talking to each other. We were not even sure whether we were alive or dead. Hearing a loud scream, we hastily rushed outside like people run towards the doors like an earthquake. We collided with one another and collapsed. Miyaji stood close to Munnu, who was lying unconscious on the ground. He came to my room crying and said that he could not see the mountains, said Miyaji, as his lips quivered. In the gloomy room of the doctor's clinic in the city, Munnu curiously asked, Father, night has fallen, but why aren't there any stars? The doctor laughed and responded, Look here, son. And in the blinding beam of the torch, dancing stars appeared before Munnu's eyes. While examining Munnu, the doctor light-heartedly probed, Masterji, why don't you take him to the mountains? Stupefied, Masterji tried to recollect his words and remarked, Dr. Sahib, those are the mountains of Jammu and Kashmir. And your villages? Karmo Valley, Dr. Sahib, at a distance of about 3 kilometers from the border. What is his date of birth? August 1947. He is 7 years and 10 months old. The doctor called Masterji over the other room. Mother, I want the candle that the doctor is holding. I can see the stars, the mountains, and the snow in its light. Munnu requested wishfully. Mother, mother, why don't you speak? He repeated. Munnu was fast asleep on our way back to the village from the city. I helplessly raised my hands in the air and prayed, Oh God, why can't you just make the mountains move and come to the other side of the border? A blood-soaked smile appeared on the grim face of Master Siddiq, who almost turned into the shape of a barbed wire. The border ripped apart the burst of the land. The sun came out and melted the snow from the mountains, and the light poured out from the eyes of the child. Once again, a really sad story ends on a really sad note, but that's really the theme in most of these stories. They take you back to the wounds of partition. So that was the story called A Snowful Desire by Saeed Ahmad. In case you don't know, he's a distinguished playwright, writer, and journalist, and he's been penning drama serials for Pakistani TV channels since the 1990s. So that's it from my side today. I'll catch you the next time with another story on the similar theme from this book. And thank you very much for listening. I'll catch you the next time. Thank you.